Hey guys, so the other day I was reading through a thread from San Francisco homeowners, and it started with a simple question. Somebody said, can somebody explain why my property tax bill keeps getting longer every year? Not higher, not double, just longer. So I started scrolling through the replies, and that's when the pattern shows up. A lot of people were saying the same thing. My value didn't jump, my payment didn't spike, but the bill looks different. And that's the part people keeps getting stuck on. Because most people think that they understand property taxes in California. They think it's just one number. And here's what people usually believe. California property taxes is 1%. That's the number everyone remembers. So in the head, they budget around that. But when you actually look at San Francisco bill, that 1% is just a starting point. For the current tax year, San Francisco total rate is closer to 1.18%. So once everything is included, that extra part doesn't sound big until you slow down and think about it. So let's say your asset value is around $800,000. In your head, 1% sounds like about $8,000. But once you add everything that shows up on the bill, you're closer to 9,400 or 9,500. And that's not pocket change. That's the kind of number that forces you to move money around. And this is where the comments started getting honest. People weren't angry, they were confused. Someone wrote, I planned for the base tax, not all the add-ons. Another person replied, same. It's not one big increase. It's a pile of small ones. And that's really what's happening here. Not one huge hit, just layers. So a big part of those layers come from bonds. And bonds sounds harmless when you hear about them. They're usually pitched as something reasonable. Schools, transit, housing, infrastructure, things people generally agree with. But what a lot of people forget is that bonds don't disappear quickly. They get paid back over time, sometimes a long time. So you see comments like, didn't we vote on this years ago? And the answer is usually yes. But the payments are still there. Then you have special assessments and parcel taxes. These are the flat charges that don't really care how expensive your home is. They just shows up. School parcel taxes, local measures, district charges. So someone in the thread summed it up perfectly. The base tax feels predictable. The rest feels random. And that's what makes the bill uncomfortable. It's hard to plan around this that keeps getting added. What really stood out to me is how this affects behavior. Not panic, not outrage, just quiet changes. People saying, this is why I don't take on new expenses. And this is the bill I worry about the most every year. I save all year for this one. And when you hear that enough times, you realize something. This isn't about being irresponsible. It's about predictability. Another thing, people kept mentioning was timing. This bill doesn't show up monthly. It shows up when people are already stretched. End of the year, beginning of the year, right when other costs are stacking up. So even if you technically can afford it, it doesn't feel easy. And when something stops feeling easy, people start pulling back. What makes San Francisco a good example is that this system has been in place for a long time. So you can actually see what happens when these charges stack year after year. One bond rolls off eventually, another replaces it, another gets added, and before you know it, the bill doesn't look anything like what people expected when they first bought their home. You could see people from other cities jumping into the same conversation too. Oakland, San Jose, Los Angeles. Different names, same structure. And once Bill starts noticing it, they don't stop looking. One comment stuck with me more than the rest. Somebody said, I'm not shocked anymore. I'm just tired of guessing. That's pretty much summing it up. This isn't about one tax. It's about the feeling that the bill is never final. So I'll leave it there. If you're in San Francisco, look at your property tax bill and ask yourself, how much of it is the base tax? And how much is everything added on afterwards? And if you're in another California city, does your bill look the same, just with the different labels? So drop your city in the comments, because once you really read these bills, you realize that they explain a lot about why the cost of living feels the way it does. Thank you for watching.